Good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 9th. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. The U.S. Supreme Court has issued a pair of orders. In one, Chief Justice John Roberts has cleared the way for President Trump to fire the last Democratic member of the Federal Trade Commission. NPR's Nina Totenberg explains.
It's yet another strong indication that the court's conservatives are aiming to reverse a nearly century-old decision barring presidents from firing independent agency commissioners except for misconduct. And if the administration prevails in this case, take a look at RFK Jr. and his firings of medical experts as a forecast of things to come.
NPR's Nina Totenberg reporting. In a separate decision, the High Court allowed federal immigration agents to continue random searches of people in Los Angeles. As Steve Futterman reports, city officials say the legal battle is not over.
L.A. Mayor Karen Bass attacked the ruling.
This is simply un-American.
The city of Los Angeles was a party to the lawsuit. Bass pointed out this is not a full ruling based on the merits of the case, and the battle goes on.
We will bring justice to this issue, to our community.
Immigration advocates who filed the lawsuit admit the Supreme Court ruling is a major setback. Rebecca Brown is an attorney with public counsel.
Essentially, the Supreme Court gave a green light to continue the raids across Southern California that are based on racial profiling.
And she advises people to document any actions that they believe are a violation of their rights. For NPR News, I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
Israel says it has carried out a strike in the capital of Qatar. It targeted senior Hamas leaders. There is no immediate confirmation of casualties. NPR's Daniel Estrin has more from Tel Aviv.
This is the first time Israel has carried out a strike in Doha. It marks an escalation in Israel's war against Hamas. Israel's military says the Hamas leaders targeted were directly responsible for Hamas's October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel and have since been, quote, orchestrating and managing the war with Israel. It came as Hamas took claim for a shooting attack in Jerusalem yesterday that killed 6 Israelis. Qatar called the strike a cowardly attack on residential buildings housing Hamas political leaders. Qatar has hosted Hamas political leaders for years in coordination with the U.S. to establish lines of communication, according to a Qatari official who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the sensitive issue. Daniel Estrin, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
The House Oversight Committee has released some documents from the estate of late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Among them is a sexually oriented letter that features the drawing of a naked woman purportedly drawn by President Trump. NPR's Stephen Fowler says the White House says Trump never signed this.
This is a limited set of documents handed over by the Epstein estate. They were answering a subpoena from the House Oversight Committee investigating how the government handled the prosecution of the convicted sex offender who died by suicide in 2019 while in federal custody. There is the copy of a typed letter set inside the drawing of a nude female body that appears to be signed by Trump, which includes the line, "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret."
NPR's Stephen Fowler reporting. South Korea's government is preparing to send a chartered flight to Atlanta. Officials will bring home Korean workers who were detained last week by U.S. agents on charges of immigration violations. They were working at a South Korean auto plant. NPR's Anthony Kuhn reports from Seoul.
The Yonhap news agency reports that the flight could leave as early as Wednesday with enough seats to bring home the more than 300 detained workers. South Korean Foreign Minister Cho Hyun flew to the U.S. on Monday to oversee the process. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is calling the raid on the Hyundai LG electric vehicle and battery plant in Bryan County, Georgia, its biggest enforcement operation ever. South Korea has pledged to invest $350 billion in the U.S., but experts argue that U.S. visa restrictions make it difficult to bring in the skilled workers needed to build factories. A survey by South Korean pollsters RealMeter found that 60% of respondents considered measures used in the raid excessive. Anthony Kuhn, NPR News, Seoul.
Florida's health department wants to remove school mandates for 4 vaccines by December. State health officials say it should be up to parents to decide. From member station WUSF, Carrie Sheridan reports hepatitis B and chickenpox are on the list.
Rana Alyssa, the president of the Florida chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, says these vaccines are safe and necessary.
For example, pregnant women should not be exposed to chickenpox because their unborn babies might have it, and it's severe congenital complications.
Other vaccines that Florida could remove from school mandates include Haemophilus influenza type B, or Hib. Dr. Alyssa says that's a bacterial infection that can make young children very sick.
They have like cold symptoms, and all of a sudden they can't even breathe, and they have to be intubated.
Lawmakers would have to act to lift mandates for other vaccines such as polio and measles. For NPR News, I'm Carrie Sheridan in Tampa.
New national test scores have been released today. These measure 8th graders' science skills and 12th graders' math and reading skills. NPR's Sequoia Carrillo reports.
These test scores are part of the National Assessment for Educational Progress, also known as the Nation's Report Card, and they come in the wake of massive cuts to the U.S. Education Department. Math scores for students in the 12th grade dropped 3 points from the previous test in 2019, while 8th graders followed a similar pattern with a 4-point average drop in science. In both science and math, drops happened across all achievement levels, so low and high-performing students dropped this cycle. Reading scores also dipped for nearly all 12th graders compared to the last test. But when you compare these scores to the first Nation's Report Card for 12th grade reading more than 30 years ago, today's average score is 10 points lower. Sequoia Carrillo, NPR News.
Several news outlets say the Prime Minister of Nepal has resigned. This follows intense protests yesterday. Young protesters are furious the Nepalese government temporarily banned social media. That ban has been lifted, but clashes have left at least 19 people dead. The elusive street artist Banksy has claimed responsibility for a new mural that appeared this week on the side of a judicial building in London. NPR's Lauren Freyer reports the mural was quickly covered with black plastic, and a judge ruled it will be removed because of rules about listed buildings.
The mural is on the outer wall of London's Royal Courts of Justice. It depicts a judge in a traditional wig and robe using a gavel to beat a protester. There's no reference to any particular incident, but it comes amid free speech concerns as police arrest hundreds of protesters across the country weekly for expressing support for a banned pro-Palestinian group.
NPR's Lauren Freyer reporting. This is NPR.